Today, let's take a look at figurative language. What is figurative language and why should I use it? First, literal language are words that mean exactly what they say. So, figurative language are words or phrases that do not have literal meaning. This means that we have to think about it to figure out what it means. Figurative language is used to excite the reader through comparison or the usage of dramatic effect. It also makes your reader more aware of what happened through a clear and more interesting description. So, in the image over here, a literal way to say it is, Cyborg ran. Using figurative language, we could say, Cyborg took off in a perfect line like a cheetah on steroids. We know he isn't actually a cheetah on steroids, so it's figurative, but it gives us a pretty clear photo in our head. We could see him running really fast. The first type of figurative language that we're going to go over is similes. A simile is a comparison using like or as. Just so you know, just using the word like or as alone does not make it a simile. It has to be a comparison. So for example, the flash sped through the city as fast as a bolt of lightning. In this, the flash is being compared to a bolt of lightning. Racing through the streets, the Flash was a runaway train. We have the Flash, he's being compared to a runaway train. We know he isn't literally a runaway train, so it's figurative language. As quick as a rocket launching into space, the Flash caught the old woman before she slipped into the street. Once again, we have the Flash, and we're comparing him to a rocket launching into space. We know that isn't literal, so it has to be figurative language. The next type of figurative language is a metaphor. A metaphor is a comparison that does not use like or as. For example, Supergirl was a comet soaring through the sky. So the comparison is Supergirl and a comet. We know she's not literally a comet, but we could see that that would mean that she's moving very quickly. Breaking through the cement walls, Supergirl was a wrecking ball. Once again, Supergirl, wrecking ball, and we know she isn't literally one. Supergirl was an eraser who undid the misdeeds of criminals, comparing Supergirl and an eraser. Next, we have personification. Personification is when an object or idea is given human qualities. So, from here on the right, we have Gotham City. It can be a police car, it can be anything that isn't human. So for example, the police cars in Gotham City hollered through the streets to capture the daily villains. The police cars are given a human-like quality, hollering. The rain screamed as it smashed the pavement in Gotham City. The rain's given human-like quality, screaming. The windows of the Gotham City skyscraper whispered as the lights were shut off, one by one. So we know that there's windows, whispering. Once again, a window can't actually whisper, so it's personification. Next, we have hyperbole. Hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration. So for example, after Robin lost the directions, it took a year for Batman to find his way home. This is hyperbole because it wouldn't literally take Batman a year to find home, but it would feel like it because it's a very long time. Batman gave Robin a lecture so boring that it could have even put someone who drank 100 cups of coffee to sleep. So, despite the fact that the story could have been very boring in this lecture, we know chances are, if you had 100 cups of coffee, you probably wouldn't go to sleep. The Batmobile's paint was so shiny after car wash that the reflections off of it were blinding. We know that the reflections aren't literally blinding, but we could tell they're very shiny. Onomatopoeia is when use a word that describes a sound. For example, pow. Batman socked the villain as they tried to flee the scene. Kaboom. The door swung right open and smacked the fragile statue. Crash. So look at these words, kaboom and crash. They're describing a sound. Kaplunk. Batman threw the criminal right into the backseat of the Batmobile. We also have alliteration. Alliteration is repeating a letter or a sound. While it's good to have multiple, It doesn't have to be every sound. So, we have, for example, where in the world was Wonder Woman? It repeats that W. I wasn't sure why Wonder Woman wasn't worried. Once again, repeats that W. Wonder Woman was wearing gold and red. So, we can notice gold and red doesn't follow the W sound, but the rest of the sentence set up the alliteration. So overall, we want to use figurative language because it makes our writing come to life. It also makes for a much more interesting story through comparison and dramatic effect. In our narrative essays, we want to use it at least 3 times throughout, if not even more. It's something that you're going to want to mix with imagery. It's going to make your writing much more exciting and make it a lot easier to score your very best.